Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another week of the Restart Podcast. I am your host, Sabrina Neely, and today, you guys, we are going to talk about something very important for my midlifers. And by midlifers, I mean people that are about 35 to 55, that age range. We're going to talk about strength training. And in prior episodes, I talked about fitness in different ways, but I've never done a talk where I am specifically speaking to people in a certain stage of life. So today, if you are 35 to 55 and you are interested in learning about why your body is acting all kinds of strange and your body composition has changed, you're going to want to listen to this episode. So let me give you a little backstory from personal experience. Currently, I am 46 years old. I've been in fitness my entire life. I got my bachelor's degree in exercise science, and I started teaching group fitness classes at the age of 19. So about 25 years of experience that I have in the fitness industry, and I've seen it change over the years, but my passion has always been strength training. And I remember being 19 and I met this guy that I thought was so hot back then, right? And he was a bodybuilder and I was, of course, the aerobics queen in the gym, and we would see each other. And finally, I walked into the restaurant one day where he was working at that time and he asked me out. And long story short, he's my baby daddy of my son, Jarrett. But my point is, he got me into the world of weightlifting. And ever since that time, I have been addicted to lifting weights. And over the years, really over the decades, I became more and more knowledgeable on how to lift, on what exercises work different body parts. And then I started looking into fitness competitions. I wanted to be a bikini competitor, and I worked with a couple different coaches to train for that, but just realized as I got into that, that's not really me. I'm not trying to get super lean and, diet down to get my body fat that low and really restrict myself when it comes to my nutrition like that. Now, no hate on anyone who does that. I think that's a great sport to get into. It takes a ton of discipline and a shit ton of hard work, right? But I just started to realize I loved to go in the gym and lift. I loved to push heavy weight. And I never thought that I would not be able to continue pushing that heavy weight as I got older, because I've always been in the gym teaching. And for some naive reason, I just always thought, I'm always going to be this strong. My body's never going to change. I'm never going to gain weight because I teach and I work out all the time, and just my love for fitness in general. But little did I know, there's a little something called perimenopause that affects every single one of us females. And I was never told about it, never even the word was used. I was never taught about the hormonal change that comes when you reach the age of 40. And I basically had to learn everything about how my body changes on my own. A ton of podcasts, listening to them myself, a ton of research, a ton of reading, and just going through it. And I can tell you now, I am in the thick of perimenopause at the age of 46, and my body composition has changed dramatically. Now, if you look at me, I'm definitely not what would be considered fat or overweight. However, I am thick in my middle. I definitely have a belly now. I have a thicker waist. I don't have the little hourglass figure that I once did when I was younger. And I'm holding on to fat a lot more than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. So about a year or two ago, I started to go down this rabbit hole of like, what is wrong with me? Why am I gaining weight even though I'm still in the gym and I'm not pushing as heavy weight, but I wasn't really able to go up in weight either. It was one of those things. And I was like, why am I gaining fat even though I'm doing what I've always done? And the answer is what I'm going to talk about in today's episode. So, if you are in the same boat that I am, or you have been, or you will be, say you're listening to this and you're young, and right now weight loss and fitness and strength is not an issue for you, I'm telling you that it's coming. And even our guys can benefit from hearing this because their strength also shifts as they become older. So, the first thing I want to tell you is 40 and up is one of the biggest population groups that need to be lifting on a regular, consistent basis. Lifting weights is absolutely essential for our metabolism, our bone density, especially in preventing osteoporosis as we age, our hormonal stability, and our long-term function as an independent aging adult. You must consider strength training just as important as your sleep and your exercise and your nutrition. You must strength train. There's no getting around it. You can't out cardio it. You can't do all the walking and none of the lifting. And you simply don't need to. You just don't need to avoid it. So I want to give you a little statistics currently on people ages 40 and up. You lose 3 to 8% of your muscle mass each decade. That's called sarcopenia, if you want to know the logical term of that. You lose 3 to 8% of your muscle mass every single decade. Muscle becomes less sensitive to protein as you age, meaning that you need both more stimulus on the muscle and more protein. You can't have one or the other. You must have both. So what that means is you can't go lift heavy in the gym and not eat enough protein and expect to get results, and vice versa. You can't prioritize protein and also not prioritize lifting. You must have both together. Number 3, your hormones will decline in perimenopause, no matter how fit you are right now. So both sexes, both male and female, what that means is you're going to have less muscle repair. You're going to have less collagen production, which affects your joints and your tendons. And you're going to have a lower speed of recovery. And I know that personally. I can speak to that because when I go lift in the gym now, I am not able to go back-to-back days, at least not right now. I am definitely not able to do 2 full body days back-to-back. I must take a day of recovery in between because your muscles become less sensitive to that repair over time as you age. Your nervous system has a lower tolerance for high intensity stress workouts in middle age. So that means you cannot go do CrossFit as you get older. And if you do, it's going to affect you worse. You cannot go do all the HIIT workouts that you did when you were younger. And if you do, it's going to hit you harder because your nervous system has a lower tolerance for those type of high impact workouts. And also poor sleep. If you go do a hard workout on poor sleep, your soreness will be 10 times worse. You must prioritize sleep in midlife like it's your job, especially if you are a middle-aged woman. Sleep has to be your number one priority. Sleep, then your nutrition, then your fitness, in that order. You cannot compromise your sleep and expect your gym workouts to be strong, productive, and effective. Sleep is the foundation for every other thing that you're trying to get to in midlife. So, how do we train properly? And I know there's not a one-all be-all for everybody, but this is what has worked for me, and I know it's worked for many others. If you are somebody that is just getting back into the routine of training again, maybe you had, a job change, a life change, you had something happen, you had to get your kids grown and out of the house, and you're just now getting back into a consistent workout program, you want to start out 2 sets for each exercise. Really no more than 2 sets and aim for a rep range of 6 to 12 reps. Because why? You don't want to overdo it. Your body needs more time to adapt to training again than it did when you were younger. And you want to feel challenged in the gym, but not wrecked. But I'm telling you, and I know from personally speaking, if you go back in the gym and you start training like you did when you were 25, which is what, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps, your body is going to scream at you for the next couple days. Your body does not like that in midlife. So, no more than 2 sets of 6 to 12 reps. Like I said before, you want to take more recovery days in between. So, maybe start out your workout schedule working out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for your lifting days, right? Then on Tuesday, you might decide to do a dance workout. On Thursday, that might be a yoga day. And then on Sunday, that would be a full recovery day. Trust me on this one. Hear me out. No more than 3 to 4 days of lifting and not back to back days. Another thing, like I just said, you have to prioritize sleep like it is your job. If you skimp out on sleep, your workouts are going to suffer. You will not have the energy nor the strength to really push hard in the gym like you need to. And the other thing is to stay consistent. And I cannot preach that enough. You can do all the workouts, you can have all the goals, you can do all the meal prepping on the weekends, but if you're not determined to be consistent, you will never reach your goals and you will never change your body composition ever. Talking about soreness now, I know soreness. Soreness is something that has plagued my body specifically over the past 4 years. Delayed onset muscle soreness, also known as DOMS, is a very real thing. And again, it's going to be worse in perimenopause and menopause, ladies, if you don't take those days of recovery in between your workouts. Soreness peaks 24 to 72 hours after training. So you might leave the gym and be like, man, that was a great workout. I feel awesome. But then the next day, and more so 48 hours later, it's going to hit you the worst. A warm up is essential in this stage of life, and a cool down, really both a warm up and a cool down. You've got to give your body the time to actually allow the blood flow to come into the muscles and also leave the muscles at the end of the workout. You're not in your 20s and you're not in your 30s anymore, right? You can't just go in the gym and pick up weights and start lifting like a younger person could, or like you could do way back when. You have got to put the focus into the warm up and the cool down as much as you do the actual workout. And I want you to remember this key. Soreness is not a measure of how effective your workout is. Yes, you can have a great workout with minimal soreness. And really, in the first couple months of your training routine, you should be looking for that minimal soreness. Now, of course, you want to feel like you did something, but just because you're not as sore as you used to be when you were younger doesn't mean your workout was not effective. So remember that. Soreness is not a measure of effectiveness. Talking about recovery. Again, sleep has got to be number one. When you get enough deep sleep, which is that restorative, refreshing, good quality sleep, your body releases something called growth hormone. And that growth hormone helps your muscle tissue to repair. If you are not getting enough restorative, deep quality sleep, you will have way more soreness than you would if you prioritized it. So again, make sleep your number one job. Your lack of sleep directly impacts your strength progress, and your active recovery on your non-lifting days are just as important as your actual lifting days. That's why I said for me, my schedule is I lift Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. On Monday, I do a dance workout. On Wednesday, I do yoga. And on Friday, I rest. I only lift 4 days a week. And for me, that has proven to work for me better than lifting consistently 5 days or trying to go and live 7 days like I once did. Talking about nutrition now, you got to have protein. I know like we're bombarded with the protein ads and the protein marketing in today's society, but really you need 25 to 35 grams of protein each meal. For me, I bought a food scale on Amazon for like $9, and it tells me not only the ounces of the food, but it also tells me the grams. So if you're somebody that's not able to eye it and see how much 25 grams of protein looks like, buy a food scale. There's no excuse for that. Okay, 25 to 35 grams per meal, and you want to aim for 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, I would probably say eating around 110 to 120 grams of protein a day would suffice. But all you do is take your weight and you multiply it times 0.07, and that will give you the amount of protein that you need each day. And of course, hydration. You cannot skimp out on your water. You need 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. Now, the way that I get my water in is I break it up into 3 time blocks. So I'm aiming for right around 120 ounces of water a day myself. So I have 40 ounces between 8 a.m. to noon. I have another 40 ounces between noon to 4, and I have my last 40 between 4 and 8 p.m. So I'm done with water a couple hours before I go to bed. But that way I give myself that flexibility to have about 10 ounces an hour, which is doable. And I carry around a tumbler with me. Everybody who knows me knows I'm coming to your event with a tumbler. I'm coming into my job with a tumbler. And I have a straw, which helps me consistently get that water into my body. So hydration is essential. For your supplements, you definitely need creatine, both men and women. Creatine is the most researched supplement ever in the world. And it is proven time and time and time again to not only help with strength, but also your cognition. It is excellent for brain health. The second supplement you need is magnesium. Magnesium is essential for recovery, muscle relaxation, and helping you sleep. Personally, I recommend the brand Bioptimizers. You can find them online. They are the highest quality magnesium seller out here. You definitely also need a pre-workout, and that's up to you based on personal preference. And you also need a high quality whey protein powder. I prefer grass-fed whey, but really any whey is good. Just look for the brand and the flavor that suits you best. And lastly, in this episode, I want to talk about your workouts specifically. So again, you want to focus on compound lifts when you're in the gym. What is a compound lift? Squats, deadlifts, bench press, shoulder press, lunges, rows, anything that uses large muscle groups. You want to focus on those. So if you break your workouts up into different body parts, say one day you do quads and calves, the next day you do back and shoulders, the next day you do hamstrings and booty, and the next day you're doing chest, bis, and tris. You want to do 4 to 7 exercises each body part. Minimum of 4, no more than 7. Like I said earlier, 2 sets of 6 to 12 when you're first starting out. 2 sets of 6 to 12. That may seem easy to you, but trust me, if you go into the gym and you push hard and you push heavy like you did when you were younger, you're going to struggle. So start slow, start small. And then after about 4 to 6 weeks, you can bring that back up to 3 sets of 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 reps. You need to rest 1 to 2 minutes in between your exercises. And most importantly, do not train to failure. Don't train to failure. What are some workout mistakes? Like I said earlier, doing HIIT training. You do not need to do high intensity interval training in midlife unless it's something that you've been doing for a long time prior. If you've done HIIT training all of your 20s and 30s, and then you turn 40, you can probably handle HIIT. But if you're 45 and 50 and 55, and you're someone who's like, I think I'll take up CrossFit, your body is going to be wrecked because our hormones cannot handle that in middle age. HIIT training increases your cortisol and it lowers your recovery. Another mistake is going in and training hard in the gym on poor sleep. I cannot emphasize the importance of sleep enough. Poor sleep is not only going to lead to fatigue, but also a higher chance of injury. The third workout mistake, chasing that soreness, what we talked about earlier. You don't need to be sore for your workout to work. That can lead to overtraining. And then, like I said before, not focusing on stretching both before and after your workout, huge mistake. So, what are some workout green flags? What should you do in your workouts? You should increase your strength gradually. This is also called progressive overload. So, again, starting out 2 sets, 6 to 12 reps. Then, over time, in the next month or so, move that weight up by 5 pounds, by 10 pounds if you feel strong enough. Gradually increase your strength. Don't go in the gym and expect to press what you pressed a year ago or definitely 5 years ago. That's not going to work. And training this way will also cause you to have less soreness over time, which is called muscle adaptation. You're going to have stable energy all day if you train this way. Your sleep will improve over time, and your clothes will fit better because you will be training to do a body recomposition, not to just lose weight. You want to change the shape of your body, which will change how your clothes fit on you and feel on you. So, just to clarify, moderate intensity with your workouts. Don't go hard every day, guys. Limit your lifting to no more than 3 to 4 days a week. On the other days, still do something. You can take a full recovery day, but on the other days, walk. Maybe focus more on cardio. Take up a dance class in your town. Maybe get outside and bike. You want to try jogging? Sure. Do a little walk run routine. But don't lift every single day. When you do lift, 2 sets to start, no more than 6 to 12 reps. Control your volume. Don't go all out. And thirdly, have strict recovery days. Prioritize your sleep. Discipline yourself with your nutrition. And remember that you must strength train. You can't get around it, and you shouldn't want to, because being able to lift weights is going to carry you into old age, being an independent, functioning adult. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. If you loved this episode, please feel free to share it with others, save it, and give us a like and a review. We're here both on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts under the Restart Podcast. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful rest of